The first change that we added is this new icon that you see here. It's called Edit URL. So the idea is URLs are usually complex and they're like separated into multiple parts. Like you have the protocol, you have the subdomain, you have the domain, you have the different paths, then you have query parameters and so on. And usually when you have to edit a URL, it's a little bit awkward to go inside of that like input and just go and edit the thing that you need. Sometimes they have like special characters and you wanna write something else there and so on and so forth. So it's very hard to modify the URL as it is. Speaking of that, we added one feature in settings toolbar address bar that allows you to expand the address bar to take the available space. That's from a previous release, but now we even added this. So you can say that you want the URL bar to go to 950 width. So the URL bar is going to increase. Even with that, it's very hard to modify the string and edit your URL or even preview it. So we added this pop-up. When you click like edit URL, you're going to get like a visual preview of your URL and you can just edit it visually in a form. And then you can just click go and you will go to that URL. So for example, I see on the left side, I have the HTTPS and HTTP for the protocol switcher. I have the subdomain, I have the domain, I have the TLD. Then I can add a port here if I want to. And you can see as I'm typing here, you're going to see that the preview of the URL will change here. I can add some hash here like home, which is going to add like hash home. And I can add username and password, for example, like kitse and 123. So whatever you add here is just going to construct a URL from that. And this is pretty useful when you have like some long paths that you want to preview. You can just add a path, you can remove a path. And for query params, you can just add some param and some other value. And here you can add another param and some value. So everything's going to be decoded and encoded for you when you're typing into the query params, into the paths and so on and so forth. So once you choose the URL you want to go to, you can click on go or you can click reset to start from scratch. And you can, again, you can add paths, you can remove paths, you can remove query params, you can add query params, and it's pretty easy to now visually edit the URL. One more benefit of this is if you're using Sizzy on like a small screen, and if you don't have enough space to edit in the URL bar, at any point you can just click the icon. For example, let's say that I have this and I'm working only with this window. I can just click on the edit URL icon and basically, well, you would need some space because this is not responsive yet, but you would need some space in order to edit the URL. The good thing is you can invoke this URL bar. Like if you open the Butler and you can just do open URL editor and press enter and it will open the URL bar, but it's on our list to make this responsive so the different paths are visible even if you are planning to use Sizzy on like a super narrow width. So that's the first change, the URL editor pop-up. Next we have address bar settings. So if you go to settings, we reshuffle things a little bit, we organize them a little bit better. You have a new option called toolbar, and in toolbar you can find the view modes, which buttons do you want to show. You have the align modes, how do the align modes work. You have the address bar, which are the new settings. You can hide these icons here and just show them on hover. So now only when I hover this, all the rest of the icons are going to show. And what else do we have in the address bar? We have the styles, whether you want to show the refresh button, whether you want to show a border around the buttons in the toolbar. And in address bar, you can also hide all the icons. So now you can hide projects, you can hide page info. Previously that was not possible. You can hide the new edit URL icon, and you're only going to be left with the icons that you choose to keep visible. So those are the new changes in the address bar and in the settings. We support the orientation media query now. So previously, if you had some media queries for, let me just show you an example quickly here. If you have media queries that support the landscape orientation, previously in Sizzy, those were not triggered. So now those should work. And if you rotate the device, it should properly show the correct whatever content you have in Sizzy. So if I go here and open this code sandbox, you're going to see that this text will be green in portrait and brown in landscape. So as soon as I switch a device into landscape, you're going to see that the brown text will show. So I want to apologize that it took us this long, but it finally works properly. And from other smaller but notable changes, we fixed a bunch of bugs. If you're working with WordPress, we fixed a bunch of bugs for WordPress editors that previously didn't work. Like Sizzy wouldn't refresh properly with your WordPress content. Now that should work fine. If you had on before unload event in your pages, now also that's properly handled in Sizzy. We have Butler actions for opening the reference browser, so you can do open reference browser and open debugging panel. So if you want to programmatically open them, now you have options in Butler. Logging errors in the Sizzy console previously was broken. So if you're not using the Sizzy console, probably you should, because it's customizable. You can go in Sizzy settings console. You can filter messages that you don't want to see. You can style it however you want. We fixed a bug with this. We fixed a bug with this transparent styles that we have here. So if I just switch it to overlay, you can see that the console is blurry in the background. And well, we fixed that, but we didn't fix this. So this is going behind the screen now on Windows, which is annoying. I'm gonna note that bug so we can fix it for next time.